Your dog knows. When you're having a bad night, here's what they do about it. It's the middle of the night. You're in bed, but you're not sleeping. Maybe you woke from a nightmare and your heart is still pounding. Maybe anxiety arrived at 2 a.m. the way it sometimes does. Uninvited, loud, unreasonable, refusing to leave. Maybe you're just lying there with your eyes open and a weight on your chest that has no single name. And then, movement. Not your movement, your dog's. They shift from wherever they were, the foot of the bed, their own cushion, the floor, and they come to you. They settle closer. A head lands on your leg, or a paw on your arm, soft and deliberate, or the warm, steady pressure of their body pressing against yours through the covers. They don't bark, they don't demand anything, they don't ask you to explain yourself, they just arrive and stay. You've probably had this experience, or something like it. And you've probably wondered, in that half-conscious 2 a.m. way, do they actually know? Are they responding to something real? Or am I projecting, reading intention and awareness into a dog who just moved because they were restless? The answer, supported by research and by what we understand of dog sensory capabilities and social wiring, is that yes, your dog knows. Not in a human way, not with words or concepts. But they are detecting real signals that something is wrong with you, and they are making choices based on those signals. And once you understand how that works, those nighttime moments become something different, not mysterious, but deeply meaningful. 1. Your sleeping body speaks a language they have learned to read. Think about what happens to your body when your sleep is disrupted by stress, a nightmare, or anxiety. Your breathing changes. In normal restful sleep, breathing is slow, deep, and regular. A rhythm that, for a dog sleeping nearby, becomes as familiar as a background sound. When a nightmare hits, or when anxiety pulls you out of deep sleep, that rhythm breaks. Your breathing becomes faster, shallower, less regular. You might hold your breath for a moment, then release it quickly. Your chest moves differently. The auditory and physical signature of your breathing shifts in ways that even a sleeping dog will register. Your movement changes. Nightmares often produce physical responses: limb twitching, restless turning, sudden sitting up, a sharp vocalization. Even subtler stress responses, the way you readjust when you're uncomfortable and can't settle, the way your legs shift when your mind is racing, are detectable to a dog who is close to you or lightly attuned to your presence. Your heart rate changes. When you're in distress during sleep, your cardiovascular system responds. Heart rate increases. The warmth and vibration of your body can shift in ways that a dog in physical contact with you, or close enough to feel your body through the mattress, may register without any conscious processing. Dogs sleep in cycles like we do, including periods of lighter sleep from which they rouse easily. During those lighter phases, the changed signals your body is sending, different breathing, different movement, different physical presence, are enough to bring them fully awake. And once awake, what they're detecting is a clear signal. Something about this person is not what it usually is. 2. They can smell what's happening inside you. This is the layer that moves the conversation from "they heard you moving" to "they knew before you made a sound." Emotional and physiological states produce biochemical changes. Anxiety, distress, and the acute stress of a nightmare each involve hormonal responses, cortisol and adrenaline, among others, that change what the body produces, including the compounds present in sweat, breath, and skin secretions. These changes are imperceptible to another human in the room, but a dog's olfactory system operates at a level of sensitivity that is orders of magnitude beyond ours. Research on dogs detecting emotional states through scent has produced consistent findings. Dogs can reliably distinguish between the scent samples of a relaxed person and the scent samples of the same person in an acute stress state. They respond differently, approaching more, orienting more, showing heightened interest, to the stress samples. They are not interpreting "this smells bad." They are making a behavioral decision based on chemical information. This person is in a different state than usual. Your dog, sleeping in the same room or on the same bed, has continuous access to your ambient scent. As you sleep, that scent shifts gradually with your physiological state. When you enter a stress state, from a nightmare or from accumulated anxiety, the compounds in the air around you change. Your dog detects that change. The information arrives not through conscious perception, but through the olfactory processing that runs constantly in the background of their awareness. This is, essentially, your dog's nose reporting that something is happening to you before you've moved, before you've made a sound, and before you've consciously registered it yourself. Subscribe if this is changing how you understand what your dog is picking up on, because the next part is about what they actually decide to do with that information. 3. What they do, and what each response means. Once your dog has detected that something is different about your state in the night, they make a behavioral decision. And the specific form that decision takes tells you something about your individual dog, the nature of your relationship, and the style of support they default to. Some dogs move and press their body against yours. This is the most fundamental response available to them: physical contact. For dogs, physical proximity to a bonded individual is the primary mechanism of emotional regulation. It's how mothers calm puppies. It's how members of a resting group signal safety to one another. When your dog presses their body against yours during a difficult night, they are deploying the most powerful tool their species has for addressing distress: weight, warmth, and presence. The message, delivered through the body rather than through language, is, "I am here. This is real. You are not alone." Some dogs place a paw on you, gently, usually. A single paw on your leg or your arm, deliberately placed. This is a contact gesture that asks a question and offers something simultaneously. Are you okay? And also, I notice you. I'm attending to you. For many dogs, a paw touch is a checking behavior. They're making deliberate contact to see if you respond, to confirm your presence and your state, and to establish a physical connection that didn't exist before. Some dogs put their head on you. The weight of a dog's head resting on your knee or your arm or your chest is substantial. It's not accidental. It requires them to hold that position deliberately. A dog who rests their head on you during a difficult night is maintaining intentional, sustained physical contact in a form that is calming. Research on deep pressure touch in both humans and animals has found that the application of gentle, sustained weight can reduce physiological stress responses. Your dog doesn't know this as a cognitive fact, but they are, perhaps instinctively, providing it. And some dogs simply sit up and watch. They don't touch. They position themselves close, orient toward you, and remain present in an alert but non-intrusive way. For some owners, this vigilant presence is the most moving version. The dog who woke up, assessed the situation, and decided that the right thing to do was stay awake with you and keep watch. In the dark, in the quiet, not touching, but fully there. All of these responses are the same thing expressed through different behavioral styles. I detected that you are not okay, and I chose to come to where you are. How their nighttime attentiveness connects to the larger bond. What makes your dog's response to your bad night so striking is not the individual behavior. It's what the behavior reveals about the ongoing nature of the relationship. Your dog knows you, not in the way a friend knows you, through accumulated conversations and shared memories you can both access consciously, but in a more immediate, embodied way, through continuous sensory exposure to your physical presence across hundreds or thousands of nights. They know what your breathing sounds like when you're genuinely relaxed. They know what your stillness feels like when you're deeply asleep versus awake and lying still. They know what you smell like at 9 p.m. versus what you smell like under stress. This knowledge was never explicitly taught. It accumulated through time spent together. Through all the nights you slept without a vent and all the nights you didn't. Through every morning where you woke normally and every morning where you emerged from your room in a different state. Your dog's nervous system has been calibrating to you all of this time. Building a model of your normal that is precise enough to detect deviation. When something in the night falls outside that model, when your breathing changes, when your scent shifts, when your movement is different, the deviation is information. And for a dog whose primary biological function in the relationship is to be close to you and to notice when things change, that information triggers action. The action is always some version of the same thing, moving toward you. 5. What to do and what not to do in those moments. Understanding that your dog's nighttime response to your distress is a genuine act of attentiveness, not confusion, not anxiety on their part, not neediness, changes how you might relate to it. The most useful thing you can do in those moments is let them stay. Don't push them off the bed because you feel guilty about disrupting their sleep. Don't tell them to go back to their spot because you think you should manage this alone. They didn't come by accident, and they're not confused about where they should be. They came because their nervous system told them something was wrong with you, and the response their species is built for is to be present. If you find yourself lying awake and anxious, and your dog is there against your leg, try this. Feel the weight and the warmth of them deliberately. Place your hand on their back or side. Notice their breathing, slow, deep, regular, and let it be a physical anchor for your own. The research on the regulation effects of physical contact with bonded animals is real. Touching your dog can reduce heart rate and cortisol in measurable ways. Your dog is not just emotionally comforting. In those moments, they're physiologically useful. What you also don't need to do is perform for them. You don't need to reassure them that you're fine or pull yourself together to protect them from your distress. They detected your distress already. They came anyway. They're not asking you to manage their feelings about your feelings. They're just there. And the only thing required of you is to let them be. There's also something worth noticing about what your dog does after you eventually settle back into sleep. In most cases, they stay close until your body signals that the difficult period has passed, that breathing has returned to normal, that stillness has become genuine rest, and then they may drift back to their usual spot or stay where they are. Their work, in their sense of it, is done. The person they love has moved through the hard part. They can rest again. That quiet recession after the crisis, that return to ordinary stillness once you're okay, is, in its own way, as telling as the approach. They were there for the specific duration they were needed. And then, with the quiet faithfulness of a species that has been doing this alongside humans for longer than civilization has existed, they let you sleep. Subscribe if you want to keep understanding how your dog reads you and how they show up when it matters most. They're always paying attention, even in the dark.